Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about two important concepts in coding. The first one is iterative and recursion. Iteration and recursion. What is iteration and recursion? We will see in this simple example. اليوم رح نتعلم عن الiteration والrecursion. اثنيناتهم بيعملوا نفس الشيء بس بمزايا وعيوب مختلفة. So خلينا ناخذ example. Example is you need to add the numbers from 0 to whatever index you want. يعني أنا عندي مثلا رقم 10 وبدي أضيف من 0 ل 10 كم بيطلع الناتج. So we can do it very easily, right? Like sum equal 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9. Okay. Plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. صح? And then we just fmt.print it. It's very simple. Now sum. And let's look at the code. Let's look at the answer. 55. So this code اللي أنا كتبته is a hard code. It's a code that is rigid. I cannot use it for anything else except this exact example. صح؟ ما فيني استخدمه لأي شيء تاني لأنه أنا عم بجمع الأرقام من الصفر للعشرة. Now let's make it a little bit dynamic and we use both methods, the iterative and the recursive. So خلينا نبدأ نعمله recursive. نبدأ نعمله عن طريق ال iteration. So خلينا نعمل function. Let's call it addition. And this function takes a number. Let's call it num. Type int. And this function returns an integer. Okay, let's take a look. هلا نحن شو بدنا نعمل؟ بدنا ناخذ الرقم من اليوزر. We're gonna take the number from the user and add all the numbers from 0 to that number. يعني إذا دخلنا 100 لازم أضيف الأرقام كلها من الصفر لل100. إذا دخلنا 1000 لازم أضيف الأرقام كلها من الصفر لل1000. Now I will ask you how can we do this? You might have a simple answer which is using for loops. And exactly that's how we do it. This is iteration. This is iterative design, is using for loops to do our problem, to solve our problem. So نبدأ بفور loop I equals 0, right? وبعدين وين بينتهي؟ نحن عم نضيفه رقم فI رح ينتهي وين؟ رح ينتهي I أقل من أو يساوي النمبر, right? Then we say I plus plus. and لو بتلاحظوا هون طبعا الصفر ما رح يفيدنا أي شيء ففينا نبدأ اللوب من الواحد. and now I need a variable to save my data in. صح؟ فرح أعمل variable هني I call it result, not resolve, result. والresult رح يبدأ من الصفر. now how I'm gonna add it? I'm gonna say result equal result plus what? plus I. So أول مرة رح يمشي اللوب هي الاتريشن شايفين؟ يعني مرة أول مرة رح يمشي اللوب ويجمع الواحد بعدين تاني مرة ويجمع الاثنين ويجمع الثلاثة ويجمع الأربعة ويجمع الخمسة صح؟ And finally after we do this we can just say return result. Now let's test our function. Inside the main I'm gonna come and I will say addition and I will say 10 نفس ما نحن حطينا 10 ورح أطبعها fmt.print println. And inside of it I'm gonna call my function addition and I will call the number 10 like that. So خليني نجرب شو رح يطلع. لازم يطلع 55 نفس ما عملنا المرة الماضية. خلينا نجرب مرة تانية. كنت أنا حاطط function غير. Okay, 55 and that is perfect. So this is iterative design. iterative the iterative أو iteration concept اللي هو إنه نحن بنستخدم for loop مشان نعيد أكثر من شغلة مشان نحقق الهدف. طيب فينا نعمل أكثر من شيء. فينا نحسب المضروب اللي هو مثلا 5 ضرب 4 ضرب 3 ضرب 2 ضرب 1. فينا نحسب what else? We can Fibonacci sequence, subtracting numbers. We can do anything with this, right? Let's do like مضروب factorial. Let's say 1 and here instead of this we just make it like this, right? فهلا رح يجي يضرب الريزلت كل مرة بالرقم اللي عقبه، الريزلت بالرقم اللي عقبه. Okay, let's go back to our previous example. So here, this is iteration. Now what's the difference between iteration and recursion? recursion هو حرفيا نفس الشيء بس طريقة كتابة مختلفة. بدل ما نستخدم for loop بنستخدم الفانكشن نفسها علشان تجمع الرقم again and again and again. So imagine using the function inside of itself. So every time the function reaches somewhere, it calls itself again and adds the number. It calls itself again and adds the number. So let's create the function. So func. I'm gonna call this addition and R. So for recursive, and also takes the same exact thing. Num int like that. Okay, super simple. طيب. Recursion is basically calling the function inside itself. So what will happen if I say here return and I will say addition R, addition R, and then I will just add the number, right? Num minus 1. So what will happen? It will just keep calling itself. رح تضل تنادي نفسها إلى الأبد. صح؟ لأنه أول مرة رح أقول أنا الاديشن R number بعدين addition minus 1. فإذا قلنا النمبر كان 10 then it's gonna call it again 9. It's gonna call it 8 7 take all the way to reach minus infinity theoretically. So what we can do, we need to add a stopping condition. So when do I want my function to stop is when it reaches 0. So if I say if number equals 0, return 0. That's it. Right? طيب. Now this my function, what will it do? It will add this number. It will not add anything. ليش؟ لأنه if you look here, I'm just returning the same number but minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So what do I do here? I'll come and I will say num plus addition R num minus 1. So what does this mean? If you look at this looks also like a for loop. هي بتطلع كأنها for loop. هني عندي الستوبينج كونديشن لما يوصل النمبر تبعي وهني اللوب نفسه what I'm gonna do. So what I do, I'm calling the number. Okay, let's test it here. So أعطينا الرقم 10 أول شيء. رح أدخل. هل العشرة تساوي الصفر؟ طبعا لا. So it's telling you return 10. So let's write 10 plus the function نفسها. So the function itself 10 minus 1. Now here underneath, like after this, now this is correct خلاص. Now this one needs to execute. لازم ترجع تعيد كل شيء. فهي شو صارت 9 صح؟ فهون رح يصير عنا 9. هل التسعة يساوي الصفر؟ طبعا لا. فبنقول له 9 زائد الرقم ناقص 1. سو شو رح يصير عنا؟ رح يصير عنا 10 زائد 9 زائد 9 ناقص 1. Now we test 9 ناقص 1. Is 8 equal to 0? No. Then number plus 1. Now this will become 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 8 minus 1, right? So it will keep going all the way down لحد ما يوصل لوين. Imagine when I reach 0, it will say if this is 0, okay, return 0. So finally after I'm done with all of this رح يجي ويقول لك 0 وما عاد في function. So that's how you do recursion. Recursion is calling the same function inside of itself, so it can repeat while it's doing something for you. So let's test this function that I just built to test if they are both exactly the same. So like that, addition R, like that. Let's see if they are both the same. Yep, you see, they exactly do the exact same thing, but in a different way. In a different way of coding. So here you can also add multiple stopping conditions. For example, I can say if num is less than or equal, sorry, if less than or equal, if less than 0, just return 0. Right? Why return 0? No, of course I don't want to do this on 0 أقل من 0 numbers. This is for example. And this is the difference between iteration and recursion. Now let's do another function, or another recursion function that multiply numbers together. So I'm gonna call func. Oh, I'm just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna call it mul, and it will multiply numbers together. Of course, I don't want negative numbers, and when my number, why it's wrong? Oh yeah, here, because I'm calling this. It's fine. Now let's delete all of this. Okay. هلا بدي function شو بتعمل ضرب للأرقام. طيب أول شيء دائما نبدأ بالreturn. So my return علشان أضرب أرقام ببعضها من الإندكس تبعي until 0. What do? I say return the number itself multiplied by mul r of num minus 1. Right? Now, if I just do this, it will keep multiplying until infinity. And of course, we never have computers that reaches infinity. So we need to stop it at some point. So we stop it at 1 or 0, doesn't matter, لأنه نحن هون الضرب مختلف عن الجمع. بالضرب إذا بتضرب بصفر كل شيء بصير صفر, right? In multiplication, if you multiply by 0, everything becomes 0. So careful. So here we say if num equal to 1, what do? We return not 0, we return 1. لأنه if we return 0, it will multiply everything by 0 and we will lose all of our progress. And now, that's it. This is my function. We can test it, but I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Now also we can add also a function, an if statement to check if the number is negative. So if the number is less than 0, what else? Return 0. Okay, now let's test my function. So fmt.print len, and let's try mul r4, for example. So 4, it will be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, let's test it. And it is 24 indeed. And this is it. This is it for me. I hope you guys understand both of the concepts. It will help you a lot in this quest. Please try to Google and understand what are the mathematical formulas before, like what is factorial, what's Fibonacci code, and what's all of that. Then try to solve. They all will be implemented either using either using recursion or iteration. So please pay attention and see you guys in the next video.